Hi everyone, it's Amanda and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys have really enjoyed the last couple of India vlogs. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. So I'm trying this new format where every time I go traveling, I show you guys the vlogs and then I reflect on them and I give you my top 10 or top 5 things I did and my general do's and don'ts. I really feel like that part is very important because while trips can change you during the trip, there are trips, especially like the one that I took to India, where the lessons didn't really come until after I got back to the States. Without further ado, let's get into it. I have my trusty little blueberry matcha right here that I made myself. I am so proud of myself. So, can I confidently say that I loved my trip to India? I definitely learned more from that singular trip than I had in like 4 trips to different places. So I do feel like it's worth talking about and exploring the reasons as to why I did enjoy certain parts and didn't enjoy other parts. I feel like it's very important to be authentic on my channel. I feel like a lot of travel creators make every destination seem like, oh my gosh, this was amazing and you have to spend your money and you have to go. My experience is my own. My words are not scripture, but I do think that it's very important to be authentic in your experiences. Like if I wasn't having a good time at some point in my vlogs, I wasn't gonna make it seem like I had a great time. When I was in India, I went to the Google headquarters, I went to Ramoji Film City, I did tours of Chowmahalla, Falaknuma, Charminar, the Qutub Shahi tomb, Shilparamam, their arts and crafts center. That was where I got majority of my stuff from India, so jewelry and everything like that. And I did Birla Mandir, which is the Hindu temple that has like a nice view of the city. Unfortunately, my phone died. I did it right after I did the Falaknuma tour, and so apologies for that, but it was really pretty. New York is New Yorking right now. If you guys hear the sirens, I apologize. First of all, going in at number 7, and this was really hard to put at number 7, is Google HQ. To tour Google, I'm almost sure that you have to have someone that you know working in that office, but it was really cool to see the tech space in Hyderabad because it's like the center of tech of India. So I had never been in like a tech company before. I'd never been to Microsoft or Google or anything like that, so it was really fun to see what that office looks like. And they had a slide, they had tea, they had their own coffee shop, they had rooms for Pilates, rooms to rest, and then generally speaking, a lot of the areas were open workspaces, which is why I couldn't video a lot of the things that I did there. But it went at number 7 because I really enjoyed all the other cultural experiences a little bit more than Google. Coming in at number 6 is Shilparamam Arts Center. Not only was this a market, but it was also like this fabulous garden. It was really, really big. I got the most beautiful dresses from there and I really had good conversations with the people in the markets. I ended up buying paintings for my grandparents from this artisan who had that run through generations. So there were generations and generations of painters. I met people from Kashmir and they were selling Kashmir scarves and everything like that. It wasn't just buying and negotiating, it was people actually talking about their art and the things that they made, and I really enjoyed that process. I did budget like a good, I think $400 in spending money for that trip because I knew I was gonna come back with stuff. Coming in at number 5 is Charminar Palace and the market surrounding it. So Charminar is literally in the center of this big market. That was the quintessential Indian experience for me. That was like really where I saw most of the people and the culture opening up. Hyderabad is not just a city where they practice Hinduism. It's actually a big Islam area. They have a really wide spread of religions there. It was hot in the markets, but it was just so cool walking through the stalls and seeing everything hanging, and then there's people frying corn and then people making milkshakes. I had my first authentic Hyderabad chai in that market. We stopped over in a little tea shop and they passed out little carts of chai and then some biscuits to go along with it. It was divine. It was like a little cup. A lot of fun memories happened in that general time. Place at number 4, sorry to say, is Ramoji Film City. Now, that isn't to say I, the film guru, did not enjoy it. I did. However, I've realized, and since then I've done tours in LA and stuff of different like American studios, but I don't really like the typical tour thing. I wasn't really wanting to go there to see the animals and everything. It was cool, but I really wanted to see more of like the production process, and I don't think I got that experience. However, it was cool actually being on this different sets of different Tollywood movies and everything, because they are the studio that is like the king of Tollywood in that area. So definitely cool to see. Had different expectations for it going in, which is why I think I was a little bit disappointed. That being said, they had excellent food, the service was great, people were very, very nice, whether or not they spoke English, and so I did enjoy the experience. It just was not what my cinephile heart wanted. Third place goes to the Qutub Shahi tombs. I really liked it. I don't know why. I think it's just such a cool piece of history to be able to see where leaders from another era, another time were buried, and the craftsmanship that had to go into that is very insane. So when I went to Korea, it was a similar thing, except their royal tombs are built in mounds and then you go underground. Meanwhile, these were statues and monuments built up extremely high. I really like seeing different forms of architecture, and so that was really what interested me. Coming in at number 2 is Falaknuma Palace. Now, the only reason it's going at number 2 is because I have a really good reason for why I put number 1 as number 1. Falaknuma was gorgeous. I got to live like royalty. Check out the Instagram video and the TikTok videos that I've made on it if you haven't already. It kind of explains the whole experience. It was built in another time. The architecture was there to be enjoyed. I hadn't ever been into a palace before. Everything was custom. So that part was really cool, and I loved dressing up. Brand new outfit. I wore a 3-piece set for the first time with my dupatta. I felt so cute. And then I got a mehendi from the artisanal market before. Did I get bullied by the people at the market to get this thing? Yes. Was it worth it? Yes. I loved how it came out. I would definitely recommend going if you're a fan of history and if you're a fan of art and if you like to eat. I also love the tea experience, and so I think that day they had British tea and it was really nice to kind of just relax. I've also done tea at the Ashmolean in Oxford, and I have to say the experiences were very similar, except it was better service in India. Brings me to number 1. The Golkonda Fort. The most expensive rare jewels in the world were mined in that fort, made out of volcanic rock, etched into a hill. It was so hot that day, and I did not expect to walk so many steps. Guys, that was a physical challenge on my first day in India, but I think it was really nice. When you enter and you clap, you can hear that clap over a 1 kilometer radius of the whole property, and so I think that's what they use to communicate with each other at different stages. Also, our tour guide, who was there for all of the week, his name was Kumar. Very good tour guide, very passionate, knew what he was talking about in detail, and I really can appreciate that, because sometimes it's like you're showing people the sites but you're not telling anybody anything about it. And when we explored, he really allowed us to kind of like think about it critically and like ask questions. Notable mention is Birla Mandir. That was the Hindu temple that I went to. Before going on this trip, I read the Mahabharata. Different people on my trip, we all had to present on different parts of it. So that is how I got most of my knowledge in before the trip, which I think is very important if you're going to cultural centers. I really had learned about the different gods and like what borrows from what. Like when you got into that place, you had to take off your shoes for the whole thing. It was entirely made out of marble. It was an insane monument, and I'm so sorry that I did not get to capture it more, but really notable mention because you could see how revered the place was, and I really enjoy witnessing people experience their faith. And it was a ton of people in there, like it was a line going all the way up to the top. I'm going to see if I can find anybody that has pictures of that day, but yeah. Now time to get into it. The do's, the don'ts, the culture shock, the food. When I was in India, the culture shock hit me the first days of the trip. Now usually it doesn't set until later, but it was almost as if I thought I was ready, and then I went and I was like, I am not prepared. So I went and as I said, I studied up. I read about Hinduism, I read about Islam, I read about Buddhism, I read about Hyderabad. What I didn't read about was little things like going to use the bathroom, like bathroom etiquette, dinner etiquette, like day-to-day things. So the hardest thing for me to manage was obviously the weather. Funnily enough, it wasn't extremely hot temperature wise, but the humidity was a lot, and so it was like there is heat coming in from all directions, and I'm a girl that notoriously does not like to drink water. And so when I got my trusty water bottle for my trip to India, it was my best friend. So I had to learn to drink majority of my water before I left the house, otherwise I would get extremely dehydrated. The other thing was I should have brought a fan. I should have been prepared for that. If I could do anything, I would say do not go to India without a fan, or at least something to fan you with. Other thing is the bathroom situation. So I keep referring to this bathroom situation over and over. When we went to visit Chowmahalla Palace, Amanda was feeling hot. I had my camera with me. I go into the bathroom and first of all, I'm like, where's the tissue? And I realized, oh, there is just a little bidet. So I said, okay, guys, nobody accompanied me to the bathroom. There's no hook in the bathroom stalls. I'm like, obviously I did not think about that clearly. So I'm balancing my things on my woman style, trying to make sure, you know, I'm good. Keep in mind, I have the long skirt, right? Because I was going to visit like temples later that day, so I couldn't really show a whole heap of leg and whatever. So I'm like bunched up, skirt bunched up, everything is just shock of my life. And guess what? I'm really glad that that happened to me, because the next day and the next day and the next day I knew what I was about. You have to be prepared for that. They did have like better plumbing in some places, and you know where tourists go and everything, they have tissue and everything. You do have to pay the attendants at the well, you don't have to, but it's recommended, and I think you should. All of this actually prepared me to go to Latin America, and so when I talk about that experience, you guys will see the parallels. This information, this new experience was not something disgusting, so to speak. It was just different, and so there was that attitude of, okay, I have to adapt to that. Ooh, the amount of ghee and spices in the food. Now, I'm a girl that loves Indian food. However, during my time to India, I was recovering from a bunch of GI issues, and so before the trip I asked my doctor, who is from India, I was like, girl, how do we make sure I enjoy the food when I go? She's like, so listen girl, the only thing I can do to help you is give you medicine so that after your stomach burn up, all right, you can recover. So what was really important for the trip, not just for me but for other people, Imodium, antacids. I did probiotics every single day. There's also a medication that you're prescribed before you go to India. I'm gonna forget the name of it, but it's to prevent yellow fever. I was on that pill every single day, and so was everyone else, and it kind of make you a little bit nauseous and stuff like that. So yeah, I was traveling with a lot of meds. So that being said, in relation to the food situation, it was like I was having some of my favorite foods. Like I love naan, I love roti, I love paratha, and could not do more than that. Basically, I could have a taste of this and a taste of that, so I could get a vibe for the food. But for the most part, my carbs came from breakfast and rice. So I would say definitely be prepared for those types of issues before you go to India. I didn't get food poisoning, and I don't know anybody that did get food poisoning. It's just a different world of food. It's a different cuisine, and like the spices really hit you hard, the ghee hits you hard, the milk hits you hard. So this is not no place where you can get your like oat milk and your almond milk and, oh, I'm fine with my dietaries. No, you gotta eat what's there. And sometimes what's there isn't great. So, or isn't great for your stomach anyway. So I had to pick my poison. So that's basically some context as to why in the vlogs I'm like, oh, guys, I'm really pulling myself together right now. Like I really want to have fun, but thank God for those long bus trips, because that was really guys, I was a mess. I was having fun, but I was a mess. It was, talk about duality. Money. India was not that expensive. unless you were going shopping for clothes, in which case it was, because you're paying for the art and you're on tourist. It's very obvious. But I have to say I was pleased with the prices. I was not like, oh, this is so expensive, this isn't worth it, la la la. Now, in terms of where I stayed at the Park Hyatt. The Park Hyatt was very nice. Let it be known, I'm gonna have a video coming out about how I afford to travel because your girl did not pay for the hotel. But the Park Hyatt, if you're thinking of going, one of the nicest hotels, I think the nicest hotel I have been to, and just excellent service. Breakfast was a mixture of Western and Eastern food, buffet style and American like order style, I guess. And then the bedrooms were great. They made up the bed like every single day, gave you fresh towels every single day. When I overheated, I went swimming in the pool. It was very good. It was very good for my mental health. That's all I have to say. I like living in luxury sometimes. We did Qatar Airways, nicest airline I've ever been on. And before this, Virgin Atlantic was my favorite airline, but this was on steroids. It was so nice. Blankets and like slippers and eye mask, and the food was really good. Sometimes you had some Lebanese stuff, you had some Indian stuff, and I actually slept really well on that flight. I was surprised. Going to India, do not go with this mindset that you are going to be comfortable all the time, because you will not be. There are so many aspects of the culture that you don't even like. It's the smallest things you don't even realize that you're not used to, that you have to become acclimatized to. And so I would say don't go closed-minded. And if you are a generally closed-minded person, don't go to India with the express intentions of seeing the cultural sites, because you're gonna have to get involved with the culture. Do take the tuk-tuks. I love the tuk-tuk experience. The drivers for the tuk-tuks, even though they were practically insane because there are basically no lanes in India, you just drive where you can. They were all so willing to talk about like current events and what different people thought of different things. But yeah, if I had to recommend this trip to somebody, it's really hard to say whether or not someone will like it because of all these different facets of the trip. If you want to learn more about another culture, and if you don't fear the idea of being uncomfortable, then India is the place for you, especially if you're going from a Western country. If you're going from Latin America, you're probably going to be more attuned to the types of things that you'll experience in India. A lot of people ask me about racism. I have to say I did see a little bit of colorism among the people there. I was traveling with a mostly white group, and so because the group was so mixed, I think I just benefited from the nice treatment. That being said, nobody asked for pictures with me, which was nice because in Korea everybody asked me for a picture. The only thing I'll say, going into the country, when you reach the border and everything, they're asking you what you doing here and blah blah blah. I'm like, I'm visiting India for spring break. They're like, so you go to school in Jamaica, or you go to school in India, or you go to school? I'm like, do you not see my F1, my US visa, because I go to school in the US? Guys. Other than that though, pleasant experience. Would I do it again is the question. I don't think I'm gonna go back to India unless I'm going to a wedding. But will I live my eat, pray, love life anytime soon? We'll see what happens. You never know. I might marry an Indian guy. So all of that being said, to my Indian friends, I'm waiting for the wedding invitation. Bye guys.